don't know. I hope I do. Hi,
Right.
everyone.
Hey, hey, we have a spicy topic this morning.
We do.
We might get some thumbs down.
I look forward to that.
Ah!
I look forward to thumbs down.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, well, again, this is when you wish it was live just to hear people. But we're going to talk about why women apologize so much and what we think about that.
You just did it.
What did I do?
Again, I wish it was live because then we could
I
have
know. I do wish it
you
was
just
live
like
because I want
but
people
I
to
mean it
listen to me.
sounded like an apology. So like literally you're apologizing for the fact that it's not live, almost kind of.
Interesting.
Anyway, um, so do we apologize? Lisa, I'm sure you've done the research.
Yeah. Um, well, I think what it talks about is just like a lot of social conditioning for women to be nice, to be agreeable,
Gosh,
to be adaptable. And dear God, have we done that?
we overshot the runway.
Not anymore in midlife,
So
but
here's mine.
definitely earlier.
It kinda goes into a different topic, but we're not gonna go in the different topic, but it kinda does. Like, so the 2 things that I remember growing up being conditioned to do was to kiss everyone on the cheek and say hi to everyone in the room,
Oh,
and I hated that. Like, I hated that.
even as a little extrovert, you hated it.
I did.
Mhm.
I still to this day, when I go to recovery meetings or when I go to an event, I like to sneak in the side door. I don't want hug. I don't want, like, a big fanfare.
Trauma.
I don't. I just wanna be, and then I've gotten better. I used to leave early so that no one would see me, but
Find you. Mhm.
yeah, I've gotten better. But the point of that is because, people would say things like, "Oh, oh,
Mm,
oh, you're skinny, you've lost weight. Oh, you've gained weight."
mm.
And they'd, like, grab your side or whatever, and you're like, "Oh my god, what?"
Family, right?
Even as a kid, I was like,
What was the
"This
movie? What
is
was the movie?
wrong."
What was the movie when the girl came in and the aunt was like, "Oh, your boobs are coming in," and
16 Candles.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Oh my gosh. So why are we conditioned as women? What is it about that we're
Survival, I don't know.
trained to not take up too much space?
Yeah.
Because that's how I see it apologizing. Like we are apologizing for taking up space. I don't Men are not conditioned that way.
Oh, no, 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 and I was thinking about this, I was talking about this last week because I was, maybe a week before, maybe a week and a half, but I was thinking about this because I was having a, like, writer's block with my, dissertation
Mhm.
and, I literally had this, like, physical reaction to this realization that, it's because it has to do with my voice and how in my writing, I either am plagiarizing if I use someone else's thoughts, right? Or I'm quoting them, like I'm referring to their research. And then the part where I have to say my thought that ties it all in. I have it in my mind,
Mhm.
but to say it or put it in writing is like getting it out there. And I'm like, why is that so hard for me? Why is it so hard for me? Every time I do it, I get
Mhm.
positive response.
Mhm.
Every time I do it, I get 100%. Or like, there's always issues with like, there can always be issues with like structure. But still, when I say it, when I do it, when I put it out there, it lands and people appreciate the transparency and the honesty and what I
Yeah,
bring to the table. But
yeah.
why does it feel like I'm jumping into an ice bath every single time? And I
Mm.
just started crying because that's what the procrastination is. It's like I'm afraid. Like I'm like I see it with my son, that he's afraid to write his thoughts. Um, but then I was looking at my kids and how they argue and make their points, and they're boys, and my husband too, and even if they're wrong, they're confident. I'm like,
Mm.
women, when they're right, are afraid,
They second
and
guess themselves.
yeah,
Mhm.
and boys, and they are so strongly they could be completely wrong, but they just say it with such confidence, and I'm like, "Oh my god."
Do you think some of that's like how I think we can agree that as women we're trained to prioritize others' comforts over our own?
probably.
That, like, if I'm right and I hurt you, if I'm direct, if I'm those things, then I'm more comfortable than you. And so then we
I think
apologize or we soften or we whatever.
I think it goes deeper. I think we're not supposed to. It sounds like I'm being like a feminist or whatever, but no offense to the feminists or the non-feminists, but um, it sounds like I'm being that way, but I don't even think we're supposed to have opinions. I don't think we're supposed to have a
Mhm.
choice. Like, I have boys, and so, we watch I'll have, like, a little meltdown probably, like, 2 or 3 times a year, where I'm like, "You realize I'm not interested in this. Like, I don't care about any of this. I
Poor
love
Ange
you.
is the only girl in the house
I'm the
with
only
all
girl.
the
I'm
boys.
the only girl. I'm the only girl." And I remember when I found out I was having twin boys, I was like, "Oh my gosh, no shopping, no baking, no makeup, no." Like, I was ready for girls. If I had had 3 girls, I was ready for it. I just didn't think I was gonna have 2 boys, all boys.
Yeah.
And I love my boys. They're wonderful, and it's great, but I just don't I'm not really interested in video games. I'm just not. I wanna be, I've tried. I'm not really interested in some of the movies I wanna watch. Again, I'll watch them, but I'm not interested. And so we will spend, like, entertainment and stuff. We'll go, let's say we'll go on a trip for 10 days, and what we will do they will let me do 10 days of what they're interested in, and never once be like
Mm.
I'll ask for one little thing, like, let's say I wanna go to I don't know, a library, not a library, like a art museum. Oh, it's pushback on it, and it's like, I just did 8 days of what you guys wanted to do. So I really genuinely feel like I think that we have to train each other to, like, "Okay, you get to pick, no, I get to pick." We do that in the car with the music, and thank God, because now they know what music I'm interested in without saying, like, "Okay, I don't like your songs," and I don't dislike their songs, but it's like the songs that light me up are
Mhm.
not the songs they pick. So, like,
So do you think in that example you're giving, are you not holding that, like, I want to do this, right? Is that part of the
well
accommodating, right? Like
well, I agree. That's a good question. Yeah. But I don't think it's just me because I've looked at, like, a lot of the moms. I mean, probably I'm trying
yeah,
to think of one mom. I could think of one mom that doesn't do that, but for the
because we
majority,
put others before ourselves. That I
where
mean,
we're like, they'll say, like, "We have soccer this weekend." We've had soccer. You've had soccer for 8 years. You don't play soccer. You don't play soccer.
yeah,
Who's playing soccer? You're not. We don't have soccer. They have soccer. No offense to the soccer moms. I'm not being offensive. I'm just saying that, like, it really does feel like it's so easy for us to just mold into whatever is
yeah, and I
going
think
on.
that is that what the data is talking about is that women are trained to put others before themselves, and when they want to put themselves equal, it's I'm sorry, but I really don't want to go today. I'm sorry, but like I
So
wanna do
true.
something for myself. It's because we're trained I mean, I think that I don't know if that's part of the nurture thing, us birthing or having kids, if it's a natural thing and societal thing, but either way, why are we saying sorry? Why are we saying sorry for something that everybody else is walking around and doing with not batting an eye that they are not gonna go to whatever.
Yeah.
They're not saying they're sorry.
And then I think as a result, sometimes people overshoot it and are
Mhm,
angry. I can think of a couple people that are just irritated all the time about
mhm.
that.
About
Um,
having to go to soccer or
like
whatever.
in relationship with their husbands. They just are resistant to anything he says because they're so overcompensating for the fact that they
Yeah.
grew up that way or that they see it
Mhm.
or that they identify it. Because I'm sharing these things with you and the world, whoever's listening to this podcast, but I don't present that way in my family. Of course, I watch their movie. Of course, I support them. Of
Yeah.
course, but I have to acknowledge now and again because what am I creating if I don't say to them, stop and think, what does mom want? What does
Yeah.
you know, your
Yeah.
friend want? What does, you know, someone that you like a teacher, like even for teacher appreciation, like what I asked my son, so cute, like, what do you think she would like? Of course, I can buy her a candle or a gift card, but I wanted to him go through the exercise of thinking of what somebody else would want,
Yeah, but
not
that's not our problem as women. We automatically think what other people want. We have a
right,
hard time saying what we want and not
right.
feeling bad for taking up space that like, I
Which
don't
is
wanna
why I'm trying to instill it with my boys. I'm like, at least with 2. I'll still start with 2.
there'll be 2 men out there in the world.
Yeah, and I have clients where I'll sit there and the guys, it's all what the guy wants, and I'll say it's like an exercise we go through where I'll say like, what is it that she likes, or what is it that she'd be interested in, or I'll start painting a picture of all the things that are done and be like, do you realize that she's not in any of that? And honestly, it comes from when I went to film school and we studied, it's called feminist theory, right? So it is the theories, feminist theory, based on films. And up to a certain point, men were writing movies and men were creating female characters and men were giving them the words, and none of it was a female perspective. So there were no women. The women were not, their voice wasn't in it because
Exactly.
it was a man writing what they think the woman would want or say.
Mhm. And that's what
So
we watched.
that's what we watched.
That's that social conditioning. One of the things they brought up was, um, we apologize to maintain connection, and I
Ooh,
thought that
I've
was
never thought of that.
interesting. And that's, like, again, to not offend, right? To that we value the connection more than, again, we value ourselves, that I'm willing to not take as much space so that this stays. And I just ooh, that one I was like, "Wow,
Mm.
wow." Right? So is that the
It's like not even
perpetuating
cognitive space.
the problem? And so I mean, if you think about that, right? In bigger outs not just in family systems, but in our occupations, in higher
Yeah.
education, and all the things, right? It keeps us from then what? Like
Well, here's an example. Um, my kids have, special needs. My son is moderate to severe. I don't like using the levels, but um, and up until virtual school, I couldn't have gone to school. And I remember people pushing back on virtual school, saying that it's not real or it's not legitimate, or what if you have someone write your papers, or how do you even know you earned it? What did you really do? Like,
mm,
those were old. That's old. That's like pre-2020
yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
And then I got irritated because 2020 happened and everything was virtual. And I'm like, so why is it legitimate now? Right.
Exactly, yeah.
But here's an interesting thing. They have accommodations for somebody who has a disability, right? It's protected by the American Disability Act.
Mhm.
They have accommodations for them, but they don't have accommodations for mothers who have children with disabilities. And you're the primary caregiver.
Interesting.
So I had to have my husband and a sitter here when I was taking class, which is fine, that's normal, but with attachment, right? With attachment, which we talked about last time. Um, what if I wanna just hold my son for a second? Because he would pound on the door,
Mm, mhm.
and I'd be like, "If I just hug him for 5, 10 minutes, he's gonna be fine, and he can do his day." Well,
Mm.
you're not supposed to have a kid in the frame, and you're not supposed to have your camera off. So, women are not allowed. I will fight for it. I will say, "Okay, I hear you, but this is what I'm gonna do."
Mhm.
But what about the women that don't have that courage? Or what about the women that automatically say, "I can't go to school.
Yeah.
I have kids." And that's what the majority of people that I talked to when I was talking about my undergrad, not even anything else, said, "Why don't you wait until the kids grow up?"
You're like, "'Cause I'm gonna be
So I would have started now.
60." Yeah, yeah.
I would have started now. So, but do you see how it's just like
Mhm.
push you aside,
It's
and
not
it's not
taking up space. It's
it's
not
not
taking
an
up space.
excuse. It's
It's
not
like,
an
"Oh,
excuse.
if
It's
you're gonna go to
real.
school, then you're gonna take up space in the family." I remember when I went to do the Ironman, And I had to sit my family down at the table and say, "Listen, I've been to all of your track meets and all of your soccer games and horseback riding and all your practices. And now mom has to practice. Mom is training for something for a whole year. And I need you to support me and not be like, why aren't you coming to this? And I like explain, I'm taking up space now. My turn. Right. But it is a thing
It
where
is.
it's like I think it's not been comfortable for women. Now, obviously, things are changing. Things are changing. I don't know that in midlife we're worried about taking up space. I don't think so. I don't know. I think part of us have thrown off the like, I don't give a bleep bleep anymore. Um,
But
we blame it on the hormones, but really,
but why does it have to be that way? And why
exactly.
and why do we have to we get our time when we're 50 or 60 or 70?
Mhm.
Why
Well,
why?
well,
Why
I'm
do we have to
hoping.
wait
Yes, yes,
40 years? It's
yes.
easier to do some of that stuff.
Well, we swing to the other pendulum, I think, side of the pendulum, and um, it's hard because if women are not doing these what are socially normative things, then you're bitchy, you're aggressive, you're masculine, right?
Yeah.
It's so hard, and I think any of us, when we go from, like, certain levels of, like, oppression or things that are not okay, we go all the way over here, and it takes a minute to get in here, but my hope is, like, yeah, that we balance this out. We shouldn't fear losing connection if we take up space or that we're not agreeable with something.
I mean, I think we at least we're talking about it.
Yeah.
And I do see younger generations really taking more space. Um,
Yeah, because they talked about how it well, it's a way to avoid conflict, that it can be self-protective, that it can be like, I say, "I'm sorry," I bow out, I don't wanna have that fight, I don't wanna have that hard conversation, and we simplify things in order to not have conflict, you know? Where I think again, it's hard because 'cause I'm talking about, like, my age bracket where I think we talked about the friendship reckoning where we are, like, making decisions. Are we having the hard conversation or are we not? Is the relationship maintaining or not? Like, you know, I and some people won't have the hard conversation, but then they just move away from the connection. Um, but I don't know that women at our age are apologizing as much.
yeah, and I think that's why I don't think it's just women our age because
No.
conditioning doesn't happen now. It happened like when we were,
Exactly.
you know, 5, 10, 12.
So does it take the hormones to, like, make us break the conditioning? What is it? What does it take? What does the younger generation need? Permission from us who are older to say, like, "No more. You don't need to apologize."
I think they need to know what that looks like. I remember I went to my brother's, graduation at UC Santa Cruz, and the young lady that one of his young lady friends, went with me to the grocery store, and, um, I was paying for, like, the food and the drinks, whatever it was that we're gonna have, so we filled the carts, and we come to the register, and she was really spirited about this topic in this way. So, I'm paying for this stuff, and then this young gentleman said, "Hey, can I help you guys get the stuff in the car?" And she said, "No." I was like, "Sure," and he's just like, "No, we don't need any help."
Mm,
So, I think what does it look like, right? To me, I'm not devaluing myself as a woman, or I'm not silencing myself by letting a guy help me. Men
no.
have some
Yeah.
upper body strength. But so that what does it look like to be who you are, to share your thoughts, but not go to the extreme where it's like, "Oh, then men are not included in the picture. I don't need your help. I don't" you know what I mean? I don't
Yeah. I
need
guess I'm not connecting needing help and saying I'm sorry. I guess
Right.
I'm but you're going to, like, guess the our value going down into there, like, if
No,
I
no, her exertion of not being, silenced, or her way of taking space was
uh-huh,
to overcorrect and
I
say,
see.
like, "I don't need your help," right?
Mhm.
So I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm trying to paint a picture for the people that are listening, like, what does that look like?
Mhm.
It can look like, okay, well, we're still in each other's lives. I still
Yeah.
want we can cooperate about being a part of it
Yes.
doesn't have to be an all or
Absolutely.
nothing.
It doesn't have to be aggressive either. Yeah.
Right.
But I think sometimes we go that far when we swing so far, you know? I do think when we're apologizing, where there's boundaries are being blurred in there. Like, you know, it's like you can't, how do I say it? It's like, I'm apologizing for something I'm really not sorry for, or I'm trying to, like, make things okay, but I'm really not okay with it, right? I think you get some of the negative effect of doing that makes we're not authentic in that space. So I think you in that moment were authentic because 'cause you're like, "No, I I would like you to help me, no problem," you know? But she's like, "No, we don't need you."
Right.
You
That's
know?
what I'm saying. I'm trying to say, how do we stop apologizing and cooperate with each other, but still
Mhm.
not disappear?
I think it goes to regulating because I think it's if you've been trained to do that, to not say I'm sorry is like you're gonna be a little uncomfortable.
So I
Like,
have an acronym that I like. It says it's JADE, JADE. Have you heard of it?
uh-uh.
So we're adults and we don't have to jade. Justify, argue, defend, or excuse. Explain, not excuse. Justify, argue, defend, or explain. We don't have to do that. We don't have to do all that.
Mhm. Which we
I've
do, right? We
Yeah,
do. If we're, like, 5 minutes late, we're like, "Well, there was this, and this happened," and and it's just like,
yeah.
I'm here." It's just like, we wanna give reasons why we can't do something. Well, all these things are happening, and that's why I can't. It's just I can't. It's so true. We
Yeah.
give all these ex explaining
Another
ourselves.
thing is that
Wait,
Carlotta
say it
taught me.
again. Say it again.
Jade, Jade, JADE. Justify, argue, defend, or explain. I did not make that up.
It's good stuff.
Can't even remember who I heard it from. I remember who, but it doesn't matter.
And
I
your
mean, I don't
backwards
remember.
girls.
I don't remember his name. It was in recovery. So anyway, I just love that because when I get all the habits of wanting to do that, I go, wait a minute.
Mhm.
And then you have to be silent and live in the space of whatever the outcome is.
Yeah, because I think one of the things you and I have talked about is authenticity, right? Like, this whole podcast, I mean, my gosh, you see my dog barking, you've got Angie's kids coming in the screen, my daughter's cooking breakfast. There's things going on because this is real life, right? It's 7 a.m., we're, like, crawling on the we're tired. We're doing this podcast to be, like, this real women that, we have our struggles, our failures, our hard things we go through, and we're trying to authentically express ourselves. And I that is our heart for, I think, this podcast is to exhibit that and to draw women out to do the same.
What
And I think when we're apologizing and
what
saying we're
about
sorry, then I don't think that, like, that authentic
what about
expression comes
permission
through.
too? I'm cutting you off because I'm laughing so much because what you're saying is reminding me of something about podcasts. So someone said to me, "Yeah, no one listens to podcasts anymore." I heard. Like, why would you say that? First of all, why would you say that? You know I'm doing a podcast. Second of all, do you think that by now I'm gonna listen to that? Like, do you think the first negative thought that someone shares with me goes in my brain? Do I look like I will say I will say to my clients, like, do you think this face believes what you just said? Look at my face. Like, it's just like this. It's really funny because I we are doing something that's meaningful to us, that's like valuable to us, that we feel like people that listen to it like it, you know? And again, even if people don't like it, I'm open to those comments.
Mhm.
But like if you just stop and listen to what people say to you, sometimes you realize like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like there's no shortage of negativity or put downs.
Mhm.
And then we apologize for what we're doing. Like, well, you know,
Or we try to silence our this
or
authentic expression of ourselves.
or even worse, listen to it. and believe it.
Mhm.
I remember hearing the speaker talk about this topic, and not the topic of apologizing, but the topic of people saying negative things or whatever it is. I don't know if it's negative, it's just not helpful. Or maybe it is helpful, but um he or she said, that's not she said, I went through like a whole year where I was like, that's not true. When people said things that wasn't necessarily true, she was like, that's not true.
Challenge.
It's like, oh,
I love that.
that's really good, isn't it?
It is. I think because that's, I mean, how do we shift behavior? It's awareness first. Like we have to catch ourselves. Catch yourself, girls. Pays attention when you're apologizing. Catch
Yeah,
yourself apologizing, and then ask yourself, why did I just apologize?
that
And then
is so good.
try to not do it, and see what it feels like in your body, and see
It
if you
feels
can
like
just like deep breathe and just like look at their eyes. You're gonna feel uncomfortable, and see if it changes anything. The fact that you didn't apologize. Just observe yourself. You know.
it feels sometimes like you're hitting an actual wall. Like you're just, wow, why was that so hard not to?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you don't, and just see if you take up a little bit more space, and that's okay. It's okay for you to take up a little bit more space. You don't have to shrink up and say, "I'm sorry, sorry, sorry," and, like, and not take up any space. Just be. Just own it. Own your space. God knows you've earned it.
We went to see
Yeah.
a show last night for my husband's birthday, for Kevin's birthday, and I thought we were sitting in the middle, but we were sitting on the end. So all these people had to go by us to sit down. And it was really interesting because the men, like I was watching how people go by, and a lot of the guys were like just crossing, right? And then you'd see like their wife looking at you and like, sorry, like, sorry. Like, they were apologizing for their, not just themselves, but their husband. Like, no. I'm not gonna apologize that I'm not standing up and showing you visually that I'm overcompensating for you to get by, and you don't need to apologize for, like, slightly bumping my knee. It's okay. There's plenty of space, you'll get there. It's just, you know,
Yep.
it was really, really funny. It's like a good, maybe notice how much other people apologize too and who apologizes.
Yeah. We're all gonna have more awareness now. We're all gonna
Yeah.
be catching ourselves, you know?
This is a great topic. Thank you, Lisa, so much. I really, really
Yeah.
liked it.
Good.
Good one.
It's a good one. Alright, everybody. Well, we will see you next time.
See you next time.
Here comes